Point out, everyone that's in USSEC, please stand up. Just quickly wave your hand. If you have any questions about USSEC or our Aquaculture program, Levy right here in the back, over there, Kunchuchai. Our technical managers from around the region are here at this conference today. Okay, so this conference is very much a passion project for me because I went to the Barcelona conference in 2016 where I met Sandro and Mercator Media, and I really wanted to bring it here to Southeast Asia. Our program has been very active in the offshore industry, or the marine fish industry in particular, since 2009. And I really want to highlight what our target is for this conference. Now, of course, the bigger term goal is to see more feeds being used, but what we want to see is we want to see a comprehensive, long-term, expert-driven, industrial-scale marine fish industry here in Southeast Asia. So I know that you all are getting a conference brochure. You can read in more detail about myself and about our program. But really, this is the target for OMC Asia 2018, is to really kickstart this issue and to move the industry in the next 2 to 5 years, not 10 to 20 years. So when we talk about marine fish aquaculture, Asia in general, we're producing 90% of the world's aquaculture. But we're still fairly far behind when it comes to marine fish. We're not doing the forward-thinking, large-scale, and high-tech approach that marine fish aquaculture and other places are doing. And so this is where we want to have a conference like this, is to really point out, as Sandra said, the whole production chain to make people understand what needs to happen in order for this industry to succeed. So when it comes to Southeast Asia, we have a lot of potentials here. We have warm waters. We have an aquaculture-friendly environment, and there are a lot of opportunities here, not just for the short term, but the medium and long term. Our current situation is not so great. If we talk about marine fish aquaculture, it's all we call nearshore aquaculture. In very protected areas, in enclosed bays, in nearshore areas, what that's led to is high mortalities, disease, eutrophication, and user conflicts. And so this is an example from Vung Tau in Vietnam. You can see, it's in a very protected area, and all the caters are very close together. So we really wanted to focus in on offshore aquaculture, and until this conference, we didn't really have people that talk about offshore aquaculture things of maybe 50 kilometers offshore. But when I talk about offshore aquaculture, what I'm talking about is higher energy aquaculture, a certain depth, a certain current, essentially moving it away from these nearshore areas that are super protected and causing conflicts. And so for us, offshore means a more industrial scale production in areas that are higher energy. And as I mentioned, Southeast Asia is a very exciting place for marine fish aquaculture. Right now, we're far behind the rest of the world when it comes to this kind of technology. But we have the opportunity to power forward very quickly, because we can learn from other people's mistakes and other people's successes and bring that technology here to help our industry. And we have a great growing season, we have an aquaculture-friendly environment, and we have long coastlines. So a lot of opportunities here for advancement. And this is a sort of a flow chart that I've shown before, and I thank Tony Ems for originally putting this together. I've added to it, and I give this presentation a lot when I talk about the USSEC program, talking about how we interact with the aquaculture industry in general, talking about how we really don't just focus in on this one place here where you see primary US soy target, just the grow-out section, the feed mills, but really we go all the way back to broodstock and go to the end consumer. Now, for this conference in particular, I added 2 additional things. On the left, you see governments. Governments are going to be super critical when it comes to offshore cage industry. The reason for this is that without governments, we're not going to have the zoning, the licensing, and particularly the security to be able to do this kind of technology in Southeast Asia. And then on the right side, you see I put a diamond here in green for markets. Because all too often what we see in the aquaculture industry is that people go ahead and produce the product and then try to find the market. And I know Matt Brooker is standing here in the back. He's come out and talked to our audience in the past. While we don't yet have the industry, we need to think about what our markets are and what we're targeting. And so that's going to be very important to have that thought process in our minds as we move forward. And this conference is actually matching 2 additional initiatives that we're doing here in USSEC Southeast Asia. The first one is what we call OCIAT, the Offshore Cage Implementation Assessment and Training. This will be led primarily by Mr. Patrick White, there in the corner. And this is really about mirroring what's happening here on a bigger scale. This is a very intense 2-day program to talk about the issues of how do we move to the industrial scale aquaculture. So now, this is a bit longer, in more detail, talking to the industry, in more detail, working with governments to explain to them what needs to happen if they want to see this kind of industry develop. We also are mirroring this with a tour to Greece, that we're bringing people from around Southeast Asia to see what an offshore cage industry actually looks like. And I bring this up because actually we have one spot left for this trip. So if you're interested in going to Greece, we have a Schengen visa already. This trip starts on the 19th of May. So please go up and talk to any one of our staff or myself, and we'll see if we can get you to go on that trip. So again, this conference is really about how to build a comprehensive, long-term, export-driven industrial scale marine fish industry. And so I'm looking forward to all of your participation to make this a reality. This is not just about us talking to you. It's also about breakout sessions. It's about you asking questions of us, and then all of you interacting during the breaks and during the meals, so that we can have this kind of conversation to move the things into the future. And with that, I want to thank you very much for coming here. I want to thank Mercator Media for believing in this concept, for bringing it to Asia, Sandro for coming this distance, and for all the speakers and sponsors of this conference for believing in it and supporting it. Looking forward to a good conference, and hopefully we'll have another one in 2 years as well. So thank you very much, and have a good day. Okay, so the next person I'd like to introduce is Guillaume. Guillaume, can you stand up, please? Let's Guillaume first. And I'll just mention very quickly in an introduction, Guillaume and I were both past presidents of the World Aquaculture Society Asia Pacific chapter, and